All right. So this one is actually close to heart. This one is about the NHS nurse who is in trouble with the NHS for referring to a transgender female as a he. I think the reason why this is making headlines is because the he in question is actually a convicted pedophile who is in prison for his crimes and was brought to the hospital in a male's section for treatment and for whatever they needed, right? Anyway, so NHS, the headline is NHS sides with convicted pedophile against Christian nurse who refused to use wrong pronouns. And she has said ever since she expressed her Christian beliefs, she feels like she's been a marked woman, according to her, right? So she's been investigated and deemed a potential risk. A potential risk for referring to someone as he. Yeah, guys? Just so that we all understand what we're talking about here, yeah? This lady is being referred to as a potential risk for referring to someone.
A risk of what?
As the... Hell if I know. Anyway, let's carry on. Let's have a look. Right?
Okay.
Right, so Jennifer Mill refused to refer to the male patient as she while on duty. The convicted sex offender, who cannot be named for legal reasons, identifies as a woman, but had come in treatment from a Category C men's prison and was recorded in the medical records as male, not female or transgender. The Christian Legal Center, which is supporting Mill, said the patient became angry when she referred to him as Mr. X and shouted at her, "Imagine if I call you the N-word. How about I call you the N-word? Yes, black N-word," before the man had to be restrained. She told him, "I'm sorry, I cannot refer to you as he, as her, or she, as it's against my faith and Christian values. But I can call you by your name." An internal investigation found that Mill's action could be seen as potential breach of the code of conduct, right? So Mel was accused of not respecting the patient's preferred identity and told her actions and behavior had fallen short of the trust's value of respect. She was later moved to a different unit, given a final written warning, and I work in HR, so that's not a small thing, and has been referred to the Nursing and Midwifery Council. She, of course, is suing. But that's the story. And the reason I said this is close to heart is because obviously we have a lot of nurses, a lot of family members, aunties and whatever who work in the NHS as nurses, but particularly one nurse who definitely doesn't stand for any of this rubbish. Who definitely, if a transgender patient comes to them, they call them what they see. If you're a man, she'll refer to you as a man, and she stands by that. And obviously, every time we go see her, she always tell you of these stories. She's had this sort of experiences, and that's why for me this really hit home, because this could have been my auntie. I could have been seeing a picture of my auntie in the newspaper right here. And
she would have looked a bit more dangerous than that. No, she would have looked like she wanted to knock someone out.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Let's start from the beginning. Right, what are you thinking?
Okay. They are right to accuse. She's guilty. She's guilty. The reason that she's guilty is very simple. Yeah. That language that they used, they found her in breach of the NHS. What is it? If you scroll down and read it again.
Code of conduct.
Now, I am in the council as well, and part of that code of conduct is about respecting and diversity and things like that. And there are certain languages you have to use, certain approaches you have to do in order to make sure that you are staying within that. And it's up to them to define what that is within that code of conduct.
Up to who?
The trust, basically.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Now, that's the world that we know we are in. Now, you as a believer are going into that world. Now, this is where we always talk about being very wise as believers. This is where we always talk about, we know this world is not God's world, in brackets. Yeah. We know that he has given it to the devil. The devil said to Christ way back when, "All these kingdoms are mine. I can do as I please. I will give you whatever you want if you curse God."
Down and worship.
Yeah. So it's not even an argument of oh no Nick, it's not. The kingdom of God is coming right now. It's there. it's not visible. It's growing. We know through the gospel and things like that. But when we talk about the physical place we call this planet we call Earth, and all its in nations and kingdom, we know it belongs to the devil. Now we are navigating that world, and the Bible is clear. It knows that that's the case. And that's why it says things to us, be ye in the world, but not of the world. Yeah, it knows where we are. Christ knows where we are. God knows where we are. And they know the things we're facing, right? Now, let's come back to our nurse, Mel. My heart breaks for her. Yeah, I think her mistake was the way she articulated that moment when that confrontation broke off.
What was the mistake in articulation?
In the sense that I would have just apologized and said, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize, because the article did say that all the documents were he. So I don't know what this person looks like, but if I was going by the documents, it would be Mr. He, whatever. So if that's what I'm reading, I could have just said, I'm really sorry, I didn't realize, because all your documents say he. I'm sorry about that. But then I would have proceeded just to use the name. I don't think, and I don't know, shoot me. I hope I'm wrong. So correct me, yeah? But I don't think in that situation, she had any business stating that I can't address you by that because of my religion beliefs. I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't think so, because if that's the case, one can argue you don't belong there, because that fine. Come back. Come at me then. Because,
okay.
Like I said, in that moment, I could have just apologized. I'm sorry. The documents I have are saying he. I'm really sorry. That was my mistake. Of course, how the person responded was also very rude. So you could have dealt with that. Just because someone has wronged you doesn't mean you have to then, wrong them as well. Fine. She could have dealt with that, being called the N-word and things like that. Fine. But then at that moment, I would have just proceeded with just addressing them by their name. That's it. Case closed.
Well, I mean, she did say that she can refer to him by his name.
But she made it personal.
No.
She picked a fight.
She made it clear that I will not be referring to you as a she.
But then,
because you're not a she.
Do you realize that's the problem? Okay, these people, that's these people.
No.
That's their problem. They want that validation. They want that acceptance.
So is your solution to back down?
It's not to back down. Okay. If this moment for her was worth what she's going through, and if this was a stand-up for a Jesus moment for her, then I strongly back her, and I'm strongly in her corner. You've always said to me, pick your battles. You can't 100%. Fight everything.
No.
Yeah? No. So that's where I'm coming from. Was this a battle for her to pick? Yes, it can be seen as backing down. Yeah, but was this a battle for her to pick?
I would say yes.
I would say no.
Okay, so
make your bread, go home. You call the person say no. By their name.
Okay. So then, how exactly is it that you're living out your faith? If when you're out there in the world, you compromise on everything just for the peace sake, and this is not pursuing a peaceful life in terms of blessed are the peacemakers. This is compromising principles of your faith in order to what? Keep the peace?
Okay. So let's analyze a little bit what I've just said, right? I'm not saying that she was supposed to, for me, compromising your faith would have been you referring to the fake gender. Under no circumstances am I telling that she should have done that.
No. Okay, hang on.
I'm just saying.
Hang on.
Like
let's go back.
Okay, can you read that statement again? She said, I'm sorry. I cannot.
She said, I'm sorry. I cannot refer to you as he or as her or she, as it's against my faith in Christian values. But I can't call you by your name.
All I'm
saying.
So
then, hang on. So what I'm saying is, she offered the compromise there, and I think we've had this conversation. This is what I've said. I think last time we spoke about this. I said that's a position I would take. I won't call you a pronoun that you're clearly not. But tell me your name and I'll call you your name. Because if I meet someone and says, "Oh, my name is John," I don't question. Is it really? Show me your birth certificate. No. I call you by John.
So let me say this. Out on the streets, we've met at a pub, at a club, wherever it is that we've met. I'm saying that statement all day, every day. Yeah.
Saying what statement?
I'm sorry, I can't call you by that, but I can call you by your name. Yeah, I'm saying that all day, every day. But the thing is that she was at an institute that she has signed on a piece of paper that she's going to uphold their values.
But the institute doesn't, and this is the point, and this is why I think it's good she's suing, because the institute doesn't stop her from doing this. Because that very same institute will tell you, oh no, we're tolerant of all religions, of all beliefs and all values. We're going to create a space that doesn't create discrimination.
But remember what they wrote? They wrote that
or
as
hostile.
she did not respect the patient's wishes to be referred as a certain pronoun. You see? So that's the issue. So when it all comes down to it, that's what she's guilty of. Now to us, she's not. But according to what the policies or principles that are supposed to hold our consent, she is, because she didn't respect the patient's choice of pronouns. And she, in fact, she made it known that I am not going to.
Yeah.
You know, and in my opinion, that picked a fight. Now, that's what I'm saying. If that was her pick up your cross, we are all right behind her.
So.
We are all right behind you.
I am 100.
Mel, if you felt like you had to stand at that moment, we are right behind you. But I'm saying,
can I question on something? This felt like you had to stand up. Can you unpack that for me? What exactly do you mean by that? Because
I'll unpack it by quoting you. You know, we've had a conversation where you've actually said that there are so many injustices in this world. There are so many things that you're gonna come across in this world, but not every single thing needs to be fought by you.
No. Yes, but to be fair, the what I did say is that you deal with the ones that come to you.
So I'm adding on that one.
I would argue this has come to her.
I would argue she went to them because she's at work. She's in the institute.
She's been in this NHS for how many years? This Mr. Troublemaker is one that came to found her. Without him, she's a good nurse.
She went to the dead. This is not a testimony of whether she's a good nurse.
So what are you saying then? Christians can't work in communities?
No, I'm saying it's the same thing.
Remember, if anything, hospitals, social work,
do you remember our conversation of the tweet of the politician?
The tweet, yes. You know,
and we concluded in that situation that he had, I'm not too sure, but I'm sure we concluded that he had no business tweeting that, not so? It was about the pride. I think they were coming and he tweeted against the pride and whatnot. And we spoke about, you understand the organization that you work for, what you're signed for. There are going to be moments where you need to go preach and you can preach.
Do you know why that's different?
The difference,
do you know why that's different?
The difference for me there is just in simply acknowledging that she is in a nurse's uniform at an NHS hospital, representing the NHS hospital, who have a set of rules that everybody that wears that shirt should follow by. And as Christians, it's up to us whether to wear that uniform and say, yes, we will, or to say that, you know what, no, I cannot, or to even have conversations beforehand, maybe, so that it's written down. If I come across these certain people, as a Christian, I can't do A, B, C, D, F, G. You'll be infringing on my freedom or on my rights. So how can I best navigate that? Or what can we do? What do I need to do? Fine, we can do all that. That's a fight we can have if we want to fight in the workplaces, you know? But when a patient comes like that, I think for me, it was a moment where she had to be wise. Maybe then go fight HR. Maybe then go fight her bosses. Maybe then speak out. But not. I feel like she's fighting the wrong person. You don't fight the patient. It's the policies that maybe she wasn't.
Right now, she's not fighting the patient. Right now, what she's fighting is the institute or whatever force has decided to fire her. Now, I'll be honest with you. I 100% disagree with you on this one, right? Because the solution to what you're saying is all Christians remove themselves from the public, which is not practical, because what are Christians going to be doing?
Start our own business and start our own company.
Fine, start that, but
make our own. I think that's a drastic point.
Even if you do that, that business still operates in the UK. It's still bound by the UK laws. Those UK laws will at some point prove problematic to your business if they're not in line with the Bible. So, and that's why I disagree, because your solution isn't practical. The fact of the matter is, we as Christians, we need jobs. We are going to be working. We are going to be out in the work. And in fact, the workplace is probably the one place where we are going to have to stand for our faith the most, because it's the one place we have no choice but to be in. If I go to a bar, they're saying, oh, you know, you have to call everyone here by a pronoun. They're not. You can leave. If I go to a church, or 9 out of 10 times, all of the other places that we are in, we have the option to remove ourselves without consequence. Work is not like that. So with her, the compromise she made was, I'll call you by your name, and that's fair enough. If Mr. X wasn't filled with demons, he's gonna be like, okay, fine. Okay, fine. Refer to me as Emily or whatever.
But those people are always filled with demons. You should know better.
He decided to be like, no, I'm not okay with the piece of what's it called, olive branch. With the olive branch, no.
With the little extension of
I want to bite your arm off. And she said, okay, cool, but I cannot call you a her or a she because you're not a her or a she. She stood by her principles, and honest with you, I root for 100%, and the reason this caught my eye is because this reminded me of a conversation I've been having with my wife frequently. I bring it up every other week because I'm trying to tune her mind to it, which is the fact that
if you had to come across
the world,
like
the world is gonna get tougher for Christians.
100%.
If we're going to stand by the principles of God, we are gonna be meeting these challenges more and more, and our call will be to stand by our faith. Consequences, whatever they be.
Let me ask you a question, right? If she had done what I'm saying, yeah, all I was saying is that in the way I'm seeing it, there was an alternative version where she could have navigated that wisely, where nothing is compromised and the patient does not feel disrespected or anything like that, and she's not on the newspaper with this and so on and so forth. Can I just add? I think adding the aspect of a pedophile in the mix is irrelevant, to be honest with you, because this is
I think
almost
it's
like,
very relevant.
I
think it's relevant.
That's almost saying that because he was a P whatever, then we have to sort of like cast a dark shadow on everything else.
Yeah.
Nah, come on. You can't do it. You can't.
Okay.
I've committed one sin, so therefore everything that I do is gonna be a sin before you even examine it.
Maybe not a dark shadow, but if a child and a serial killer are burning in a car, that's not even a discussion for me, or it shouldn't be a discussion for most people.
Gotcha.
I mean, do you know what I mean? Or for
but we're
example,
not talking about talk about behavior. We talk about things that they've done because
no. That's what I'm saying. So okay, fine. Maybe a child is a bit unfair. Everybody would save the child. If John 25 and Jim 25 are burning in a car, and Jim is a convicted pedophile and a serial killer, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at Jim twice.
Because it's beyond salvation.
It's not about beyond salvation, but at the end of the day, okay, let me dwell on this. There's this notion that the things we do in this world doesn't matter. Of course it does. Because you either add value in this world or you take value away from it. And I'm sorry,
and is that how God is looking at it as well?
I'm not God.
But shouldn't we have the mind of Christ? Shouldn't we be Christ-like in that way? Shouldn't our view of our world be Christ-like in the sense that we even differ in our thoughts to the everyday Jim?
Yes.
So everyday Jim is thinking exactly that. What should we be thinking? We should be thinking two lives.
Tell me what the Bible says about two people burning where one is a pedophile and one isn't.
It doesn't.
I'm not disagreeing with the point about us being different, thinking different. I'm not agreeing with that point, but I'm saying let's be honest here. Let's be practical. Let's be mature, right? That's not even a conversation for most people.
It is 100% a conversation if we're going to think in that higher plane. Because I'm challenging us. Let's not look at pedophile.
So what are you going to look at?
Hold on.
No, I agree. Let's not look at actions. So what are we going to look at?
Two people burning.
Okay, but
who can you get to first?
The dilemma.
Who can you save first?
No way. That is
what can
wild.
You do about? What do you
that mean? Is wild.
Yes, no. Yes, I agree.
That is wild.
I agree.
No way.
I agree. It is wild because it is that higher thinking. It is that Christ.
No.
Chin.
No.
If we had to look at Paul, the apostle, before he became Paul, whilst he was Saul, and he's burning.
That was before he became Paul.
And he's burning. Yeah. And that's my point. And he's burning.
Yeah.
We are not looking, by what you're saying, he's burning to death. But then look at what Christ did in his life.
Listen, if this pedophile is now a pastor of a church, that's a different discussion.
He's not gonna because he's gonna burn.
I'm not God. I don't know the future.
You burnt him.
Nick,
That's why I'm saying.
Nick,
That's why I'm saying.
do you
Just look at who's gonna
hang
say
on
first.
do you or do you not agree that we as humans we can only judge based on what we see, the here and now?
I agree that
Right?
100%.
We are not God.
We are not. I agree that 100%.
If someone steals, we send that person to prison because
They're
they've
thief.
stolen, right?
Yes.
Because
So
they're
we're
thief.
looking at the action.
God
Yes.
is seeing at the reason behind that stealing.
100%, yes.
Maybe something happened, whatever. To God, he's pardoned. He's justified. This child has done nothing wrong in my eyes. In the human eyes, the guy is stolen. He's not going to prison. That's
Now,
my
let me
point.
pause you there. Let me pause you there. Now, the advantage that you and I and most Christians have is that we know how God judges or looks at people.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do, because the Bible says that I, the Lord, look at the heart
And
mind
and
of
what is
people.
and my point is
Yeah?
we
no.
no.
So hold on. So
Okay,
our
go
job
on.
there is not
to
to
calm down.
look at the actions of what that man is doing. I would argue, don't get me wrong,
So what do we look at? Fine. Let's not look at the actions. What do we look at? Is my
in
question
the
to you.
example, I'm going back to the example you've just given. Yeah. In that example, I'm looking at who can I get to first? Who can I save first? Who is the easiest person? Who is the closest person? Because if I start with the one that's far out and then they'll end up both, all three of us could burn whatever, I would leave out their actions and save who I can save and trust the rest to God. Because that person
Fair enough.
that we have snatched out of the fire, as the Bible says, see what I did there, could be that God has got a lot in store for them and they could do a lot
be.
for the kingdom of God.
You know what? I
And
don't disagree with
that's
you.
the challenge. I'm saying that
I
is
don't disagree with
that
you.
not how we should be thinking?
No.
Is that not the definition of that now that we have the mind of Christ?
Listen, where there is an opportunity for
Hmm.
somebody, I 100% agree with you. Now, don't get me wrong, that is obviously a very extreme example, saving someone
course,
out
of
of
course,
fire.
but it
Very
drives in
extreme.
the nail, yes.
But the point I'm making is that we as humans, we are judged by the actions that we do.
Hmm.
In fact, even biblically, we're going to be judged by the things we do in this flesh.
Hmm.
Because it's either we're judged and we're sent to heaven, or we're judged and we're sent to the burning fire. By the actions that we've done in this bodily
I'll
flesh.
reserve a comment for
That's
now.
the-
I don't want to go down that tangent, but go on.
That's what the Bible says, right?
Because the actions, yes, the Bible does say that, but if you dig deep in the story, before this one did that, before this that, he declared. So there's a lot more to that story.
No, the only reason we're not judged for actions is because Jesus died for them. So somebody still was judged for those actions.
100%.
So
yes.
so
But then the action, okay, what, continue.
my point is the
yes.
judgment of the actions, it doesn't get written off. Just poof, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
No. The only reason that we're not judged by actions is because Jesus carried those.
Mm-hmm.
So the judgment, the sentence is still passed. Death is still given.
At the end.
It's just somebody, well, for us, it's in retrospect. Jesus
Yes.
already died.
Yes.
But okay, and okay, we've sidetracked a little bit here. So
Completely.
let me bring it back.
One more is what you say.
Let me bring it back. Okay, so
This could just be our episode today.
okay. You mentioned about being a pedophile doesn't change anything. Oh, okay. In the grand scheme of things, here's what I do agree with you, right? In terms of when it comes to the treatment of someone, especially us as Christians, in terms of how maybe our kindness to someone or our mercy to someone or whatever, yeah, I could agree to a certain extent that yeah, absolutely, you treat everybody while they're alive, while they're still okay. Christ can work with everybody, right? 100%. However, in a situation where you have to make a judgment between two people, those things do come into account, and that's the point I'm making. The value, the actions, the personality, the characteristics of the people you're dealing with does matter. Because if you're making a judgment between two people, you have to take into account the two people that you're judging. And this is something that humans do, and therefore we have to look at these things. So yeah, I'm sorry. It's nice to say, yeah, consider everyone the same. No, I'm sorry. In the grand scheme of things, when it comes down to making judgments between people, you have to look at actions. And yes, your actions do speak about you, and they may warrant favorable treatment, or may demand unfavorable treatment. Is the point I'm making. But it's one of those things.
In ending your statement there, yes, I don't disagree with that aspect. If we take it away from saving lives,
the saving lives was an extreme example.
I may not disagree. I may not disagree so much because, especially the way you've put it, I'm thinking about our neighbors. We get on with our neighbors. With some neighbors, we don't get on with some neighbors. no, the way this one acts, they do A, B, C, D, T. I don't really like that behavior. You know, that's a bit shady to me. I don't really agree with that life. You know, yeah. So 100%, we are always going to look at the actions to discern with the Spirit of God anyway, helping us to discern good from bad company and kind of things and whatnot. So yeah, that ending bit, I don't disagree at all, to be honest with you, too much about it. I think for me, it's just in looking at life or death situation, saving people from a burning fire. God forbid we're ever put in that situation, but I've come to really, really, really sort of like not value but feel life itself. You know how fragile it is. I don't know if we told you, but our downstairs neighbor was found dead. You see what I mean? So it's like you see one person there. Life is really fragile. You see what I mean? Life is really fragile. And the fact that we are believers, we are not exempt from that, but by faith we believe that we will come back again and again and again. By that I mean tomorrow.
No, I was going to say
reincarnation.
That's the new doctrine.
So because of that, I think all I'm saying is that to that argument again, to that discussion we're having again, I think I also do look a bit beyond, as per the gospel, a bit beyond what we're doing, and more to be, you know what, if I was ever put in that situation, I'm trusting God, and like I said, for me, I'm going for the one that I can reach. You know, if I can get to somebody at that moment, I'm not even looking at this, he's that. No, I'm going for the one that I can reach first, boom, and then going for the other person, even if I die trying to 100%. I think in that moment, it would not be becoming of me, let me personalize it, to start calculating, no, you've killed 17 people, my G, you deserve to die. Or rather, I'm gonna, no, I know. I'm
gonna say.
Coming back to Mel, I will be fair. I will be fair and say that I am.
I did actually have one more.
I am sort of like in agreement to extent. Again, like I said, that's one way to do it. Yeah, that's one way to do it. And that's why I'm agree. If I say that's one way to do it, everything you're saying, I'm agreeing 100%. Yeah. However, I'm adding to that to say that I think there was another way she could have, but this side depends on how the conversation went. And that much we don't know. And this is something you've told me so many times about being wise and being seeking the peace and 100%, you know, and whatnot.
But in me saying all of that, I never
wash dishes that are clean.
I never say that so that we run away from confrontations that need to happen.
Okay, fine.
So
on that aspect, I'm agreeing. If that needed to happen,
I always
100%.
You know me. If I can keep the peace, I will seek to keep the peace. But if it's fight time, I don't run away from a fight either. So sometimes people think peacemakers are non-violent. No. We are violent. We just know how violent we are. Therefore, we don't get violent often.
For your good, it is exactly. I do not pick up this stone. Because if I pick up this stone, I'm still red. You'll be no more.
Okay, all right, fine. Well, we've tarried, so I've got a few more quick fires. So I'm guessing we can do that, and then we can call it a day.
Yeah. Cool. Let's do that.
So, but
man, can I just say I've been very excited about this discussion.
No,
I'm just like we keep pushing it.
Listen, there's clearly a time for it.
No, I think you are hiding away from something.
No. I mean, there's clearly because we're not choosing these things; they're just sort of happening. So there's clearly a time for it. Somebody needs to hear it,
right?
At the right time.
And now somebody could be me.
All right, listen, but so that story raised a couple of interesting questions. So you guys let us know what you think. Firstly, let us know what you think about Jennifer Mel's case that she has going on, fighting the NHS and the conducts and everything else. Do you agree with how she handled it? Or are you maybe with Nick a little bit saying, yeah, it's fine, she did nothing wrong, but maybe there was another way of handling it?
Deal with it. I think that's the first time you've ever concluded my point fairly.
Or are you on my side, who from the details we're given, which I appreciate are not comprehensive, so I'm happy to be proven wrong, but from the details we're given, it appears to me as if it was a moment for her to stand by her faith and not compromise her faith, because it sounds like the person on the other side of the conversation was demanding her to do so. Let us know what you think. But then I think another interesting conversation that's spurned from that is our discussion about judging people based on actions and values and stuff like that. Do you maybe side with me to say that, you know what, yes, it's not about eternal judgment. We're not cussing people whether they're saved or not saved or whatever. But do you agree that no, we as humans, we do things, we do actions, and therefore they
label us.
They label us in a way, the way we appear to other people, or on Nick's point, he doesn't agree.
I agree with that one. I agree with that 100%. I'm just saying, if it came to saving people from a burning building, you have no business thinking about that.
Okay, fine. Okay, let me condense that question. A car is burning.
Under the bus,
car is burning. You can only save one person. Are you doing what I'm doing and saving the person who hasn't committed any atrocities? Or are you doing what Nick is doing and saving the closest person? That's fair, right?
That is
His point is save the closest person. My point is go for the one who hasn't committed atrocities.
Pass.
Let us know what you think.
Pass.
100%. Now hop over them. Will you play?
Sorry, my G. Wild.